Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano, Friday, July 26th. Ian Cameron with you. It is our final show this week, and we are back with a full MLB card here for this Friday. Very much looking forward to it. A big slate on tap. We'll get right into it. This is going to have to be a quick show because I've got to be someplace in about 40 minutes or so. So we'll make this quick, rapid fire. Let's begin with the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. Pablo Lopez, Kiter Montero, the pitching matchup. Twins minus 180, road favorite, 7.5 the total. Lean Tigers. I mean, you're going to give me Detroit at this price. I'm interested. That being said, Twins are playing some pretty good baseball too right now. And you look at the way they are, playing pretty well. They're hitting the ball well. They've got one of their better pitchers on the mound who's given up 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. Meanwhile, Montero has hit a rough patch. He's given up 5 runs in each of his last 2 starts. That does concern me a little bit. But there is value on Detroit. It's a team I've backed quite a bit. I'm just not sure this is the right spot to do it. So it's a pass for me, just a small lean here to the Tigers, just because they've been pretty good to me from a betting standpoint, and you've been getting some good value with them as they've started to play some better baseball. All right, we got Cleveland and Philadelphia interleague action here. Ben Lively, Christopher Sanchez, the matchup. We've got the Phillies minus 190, home favorites, 8 being the total in this game. You're getting, I know Cleveland struggled and they've been kind of a bet against team for me lately. Boy, you're getting a big price here with them. Christopher Sanchez, though, has been very, very good here at Citizens Bank Park. I know Connor and I have, and Connor, by the way, unfortunately is a late scratch today, so it's just me on the show today. But Christopher Sanchez has been lights out at home, 1.5 ERA. So this was a pretty easy pass for me. I don't want to lay this price with Phil. I don't want to lay a price like this against Cleveland, but I also don't want to go against Christopher Sanchez here with the way he's been pitching. So it's a pass for me on that one. Cincy, Tampa Bay, Nick Lodolo, Shane Baz, the pitching matchup. We've got pretty much even money here, minus 110 both sides. The total sitting at 7.5, shaded to the under. Tampa just destroyed Toronto yesterday. It was one of my plays on the card yesterday. It was a winning best bet card, though, for the SoBet subscribers, and we'll talk about the subscription options at the end of the show today. But one of the plays I had cashed in with Tampa, about as easy as it gets, 12-0 blowout win over the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. It was just a destruction. Actually, 13-0 is the way that game ended yesterday. Shane Baz on the mound for the Rays. His numbers are actually okay since he's been back. But you look at his FIP, his ex-FIP, they're definitely higher. He had 5 walks in his last start. It's definitely signs that he hasn't nearly pitched as well as we have seen at times in the past. He only faced Cincy a few years ago at one time and gave up 7 runs. Meanwhile, Lodolo is someone that, I'm a pretty big fan of. The lefty here. We'll see how he matches up against this Rays team, a Rays team that's actually struggling right now against lefties. 197 team average against left-handed pitching the last 10 games. So that's not what you want to see. I lean Cincy here a little bit. I think Cincy's actually worth a look in this game from a betting standpoint. Getting them at close to even money here. I think it's not a bad way to go here to take a shot with Lodolo and the Reds at this current price. All right, we move along now. Next up, it is the San Diego Padres and the Baltimore Orioles. Adam Mazur on the mound for the Padres. Grayson Rodriguez for Baltimore. Baltimore minus 200. Home favorites. Minus 190 actually is more along the lines of where it is. 9 the total, shaded to the under. Baltimore's not a team I'm laying a price with. I mean, they're not playing great right now. They barely escaped with a win against Miami to avoid a sweep narrowly. They had a 6-0 lead. They blew it. It went to extra innings, and they rescued themselves with a 7-6 win. I mean, it's definitely not the kind of team that I'm ready to spot this kind of number and this kind of price with, even though I love the way Grayson Rodriguez is pitching. He's pitching great, but you're also seeing that in the price here with Baltimore. So it's probably another one where, unfortunately, it's a pass. Like, I don't really want to go against Grayson. He's 4-1. Should I say Baltimore's 4-1 in his last 5 starts. Mazur has not been good either. That's the other concern I would have about taking the shot with the big dog, the surging big dog. San Diego's playing some really good baseball, trying to make a run in the NL West here post All-Star break, but you're talking about a pitcher with a 7.84 ERA. He's been pretty darn awful when we have seen him so far, Mazur, so he's not someone I'm really rushing to bet in this spot, so it's a pass. Can't lay it with Baltimore, not in their form, even with, but Grayson I respect. And I don't trust the San Diego starter, Mazer, enough. So it's going to be a stay-away game for me. Texas and Toronto. We've got Andrew Heaney, Yusei Kikuchi, Battle of Lefties. This is Apple TV, by the way. So you got to have the Apple TV subscription to watch this game. It's Toronto minus 120 home favorites. 8 the total across the board. It's very simple to me. Anytime I see Toronto favored, I'm going against them. It's that simple. And I'm not even a big Andrew Heaney guy. And I still took Texas here, plus 105, plus 110, at that price. It's a Blue Jays team that obviously they're selling at the deadline. Springer could be gone. Turner could be gone. This particular starting pitcher for the Jays could be gone at the deadline as well. Yusei Kikuchi. We'll see how he fares. I guess the one concern is he's kind of auditioning, for the trade deadline at this point tonight in a start like this. But he didn't pitch well in his last outing against Detroit, and he didn't pitch well in his final start before the All-Star break either against Arizona. In fact, he's given up 11 runs and 11 hits in his last 9.2 innings. So even though Kikuchi's trying to audition for another team here, I'm not sure he or the team behind him are worthy of the favorites role, especially with a Texas team that, look, they've come out of the break playing some good baseball. Albeit they did sweep a horrible White Sox team, so maybe it's more, hey, they feasted on a terrible team, but they have won 5 in a row, including the final game of their series against Baltimore. And Andrew Heaney, for all his flaws and all his faults, he's actually pitched pretty solid. 3 runs or less in 5 straight starts. He's given the Rangers a chance to win. Rangers have a winning record, 3-2 in his last 5 starts. So, yeah, Texas for me, it's just a fate of a Toronto team that's dead as a doornail and a season going nowhere. So Texas for me, ride the hot, fade the cold type of game here for me with the Texas Rangers. All right, next up it is, as we continue along, Atlanta Braves, New York Mets. Charlie Oldman Morton, Kodai Senga back on the hill for the Mets. We've got the Mets minus 130 home favorites, 7.5 the total. Mets are passed for me. This is a red-hot Mets team, swept the Yankees, extra innings victory against Atlanta last night. Braves sticks are still ice cold. I mean, this lineup is just not producing, at all at the level that we're accustomed to in the past. And it's continuing during this now 5-game losing streak for the Atlanta Braves. So this is definitely not a team I'm interested in backing right now. And especially with Morton. Morton's one of those pitchers that, he was better in his last start against St. Louis, but before that he struggled. He gave up 4 runs to both the Diamondbacks and the Giants. We'll see how he fares. He's actually given up 4 runs or more 3 of his last 5 starts. He did dominate the Mets earlier this year. Shut him down 1 run in 7 innings. But boy, I don't love this Atlanta lineup at the moment. They are not hitting. They're not getting the clutch hit. The Mets are getting those timely hits, and their offense has been pretty good for the most part since the break. This is another one where, look, you got a cold Atlanta team. You've got a Mets team playing well, and I cashed a ticket with the Mets, albeit fortuitous because the outfielder overruns the fly ball last night to give the Mets the win. But at the end of the day, I still think the Mets are the team in better form, and all things considered, a cheap price here. So Mets to me at minus 130, I think are worth a look in this game as well. All right, we move along now. Yankees, Red Sox, Nestor Cortez, Brian Bayo. Yankees minus 120 road favorites, 9.5 the total in this game. These are kind of 2 teams I'd rather bet against right now than bet on. Now they're facing each other. I guess if I have to lean to someplace, I'd lean Boston just because they're the slight dog in this game. But maybe this is a chance for the Yankees to get right because they get swept by the Rays. They have a 4-game split with the Rays. They get swept by the Mets, I should say. Nestor Cortez has been awful. I want no part of him. 11 runs in his last 8.2 innings of work. He has struggled. I'm not a big Brian Bayo fan. He hasn't had a very good season for the Red Sox. 5.27 ERA. He's got worse numbers this year at Fenway Park. 6.2 ERA. For Brian Bayo at home. Could be an over here, but unfortunately, neither of these teams are consistent offensive teams either at the moment. The Yankees lineup ain't hitting the last few games. That's concerning. And the Boston lineup, quite honest, now they did get going against Colorado. It's funny, they lost 2 of the 3 games, and they scored 6 runs in every game. And they actually scored 6 in the last 2. So they've actually come out of their doldrums. They were slumping a little bit. Maybe Boston team total over potentially as well, in case the Yankee lineup stays cold. But some kind of combination of maybe Boston team total over, full game over, I'd consider in this one, but nothing overly strong. Nothing that I'm rushing to bet when it comes to this game. Cubs and Royals, Kyle Hendricks, Brady Singer, Kansas City minus 155 home favorites, 9 the total. I don't want any part of Kyle Hendricks or the Cubs in this matchup. Kyle Hendricks actually has been a little bit better here in the month of July. He was terrible before this month, but I will say he has pitched a little bit better. 2 runs allowed against the Angels, shut out the Cardinals in 7 innings, 3 runs against Arizona in his last start. But he's still not someone I'm looking to back. Brady Singer's been very ultra consistent. 1 run or less for Brady Singer, 4 of his last 5 starts. So he's just been an epitome of consistency. I would probably go Kansas City, first 5 run line potentially -0.5, or Kansas City -1 full game run line. Again, this is not a game I bet, but that's definitely the preferred side for me. Would be the Royals here in run line form, first 5 full game, something along those lines. All right, Dodgers and Astros interleague matchup here. Gavin Stone, Framber Valdez, Houston -130 home favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. Houston almost got swept by Oakland, but they salvaged the final game with a good start by Hunter Brown and an 8-1 victory. Dodgers have been rolling here out of the All-Star break. Swept the Red Sox, 3 of 4 from San Francisco. Really good stuff from them. Gavin Stone is a pitcher that for the Dodgers, more good than bad, I guess you could say, from him. 3.19 ERA overall, 3.5 ERA at Dodger Stadium. He's actually pitched a little better on the road going into this outing against Houston. 2.83 ERA for Gavin Stone on the road. And, of course, this game being in Houston. So he might pitch well in this one. Framber Valdez for the Astros. He's kind of turned things around. He had a rough outing in the end of June against the Mets, and in July he made 3 starts. He gave up 6 runs in 18.2 innings. Pretty good stuff from Framber there. We'll see how he fares against this Dodgers team, which currently is hitting just 206 against lefties in their last 10 games. We'll see if they can do some damage here. It's a pass for me. I mean, Astros are kind of a bet-on team for me. They've been that way for a while. I don't really want to step in front of the Dodgers with the way they've looked coming out of the All-Star break. So pretty easy decision to pass. Maybe you could take a shot with a first 5 under here. With both of the Stone's got a good road ERA. Valdez has been better the last few starts. So maybe that's something to consider in this game tonight. All right, Seattle Mariners, Chicago White Sox, George Kirby, Drew Thorpe, the pitching matchup. Kirby and the Mariners, -165, road favorites, 7 the total. I mean, you just can't touch Chicago. I mean, they are just an absolutely pathetic, just a terrible baseball team. Just absolutely awful. And just when you thought they were starting to be competitive and just starting to, get at least some more competitive performances together, here they are now, 10 losses in a row for this White Sox team coming into this matchup tonight. But look at this Mariners team, 9-20 in their last 29 games. So I can't say I'm really looking to lay chalk of this price with Seattle, even though, I'm a fan of Kirby. He's a capable arm for this team. 3.2 ERA, 2.59 ERA in 4 starts in the month of July. Pitched very well here this month in July. So we'll see how he fares. But certainly I could only look Seattle. I just don't love the idea of I've got to lay -180 on the road with a 9-20 team in their last 29. Not exactly value, but there's no case for me to be made. None. 0 for the Chicago White Sox. So that's a pass for me, that game. All right, next up, Miami, Milwaukee. Trevor Rogers, Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers, -235 home favorites for the Brew Crew, 7.5 the total in this game. This Miami team, they're not good at all, but I'm telling you what, you look at the last really 7 or 8 games, they're 5-3. The games they've lost, they've been right there. 1-0 loss to the Mets, 6-4 loss to the Mets, 7-6 loss to the Orioles yesterday. They're playing better baseball. Trevor Rogers has turned his season around. He's given up 2 runs in 4 straight starts, exactly 2 runs. Freddie Peralta, he's been pretty solid too. Maybe an under out of this game kind of makes sense. Long term, though, I mean, the Brewers, we've talked about this on this show, it feels like for years, they haven't been ultra consistent against lefties. until all of a sudden the last little bit where they actually have a 329 average against lefties coming into this game. So they've definitely hit better than they've historically done in recent years against lefties. But, Miami's a very feisty team all of a sudden the last 10 games. And I think you could do worse than taking a small shot with them or a small flyer with them here at around plus, I'm seeing as high as plus 200, plus 208 with the Miami Marlins in this game. This might be your big dog shot of the night here. Just take a shot. Rogers is in better form. Kind of a flat spot for the Brewers a little bit, in this one potentially. So maybe a little small dabble on the Miami Marlins. Why not? Now, I know Baltimore's not been playing well, but they gave the Orioles a very tough series. So, just I think Milwaukee a little bit overpriced in this spot tonight. All right, Washington, St. Louis. Mackenzie Gore, the lefty for the Nats. Sunny. Yesterday, my life was filled with rain. Sonny Gray for the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis minus 170, home favorite, 7.5 the total. I like the over in this game. It's a low total. You're getting a low total because Mackenzie Gore is respected and has been a respected pitcher in the betting markets for years now. But he's not pitching well right now. He's just not. I mean, he gave up 5 runs, 6 hits, 3.1 innings to this same St. Louis team he faced earlier this month in Washington. He gave up 4 runs and just 4.2 innings against the Mets after that. And his last start against Cincinnati, he got knocked out of the game after 4 walks, 3 runs, and just 2 innings against the Reds. So Mackenzie Gore's form has just not been very good, lately. I think St. Louis can probably do some damage. Oh, and St. Louis has scored 5 runs in each time they have faced Mackenzie Gore. Gore's given up 5 runs, a grand total of 10 runs in 9.1 innings in his career against the Cardinals. So this has been a problem team for Mackenzie Gore. So I think the Cardinals can score some runs. Sonny Gray's not pitching as well the last month. His regression, which we thought would eventually take place, is happening right now. 6 runs allowed to the Reds June 29th, 5 runs, 5 innings against Washington. 5 runs, 8 hits against Atlanta in his last start. 4 home runs allowed by Sonny Gray in his last start. I just think this total's a little bit light with how the form of both of these starting pitchers is declining in recent weeks. So for me, it's over 7.5 here with the Nats and the Cardinals. All right, next up, Oakland, LA Angels. We've got Paul Blackburn shading in the dead of night and Carson Fulmer for the LA Angels. Angels minus 115, home favorites, 9.5 the total in this one. Of course, I used to sing that years ago when Paul Blackburn really did suck. He hasn't been as bad here in Oakland the last few years. That being said, we have not seen Blackburn since May start a game for this A's team. And in the three of the 4 starts that he made in April and May before he was sidelined, gave up 4 runs or more. I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank. He's been around the block. We'll see how he fares here. I'm not really a big fan of Carson Fulmer for the Angels. 3 runs, 5 hits, 4.2 innings against Oakland just 5 days ago. Not great. We'll see how he fares here in this game. Oakland's been a team that has, to me, been an absolutely dead nuts over team. 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games. Their lineup is hitting right now, Oakland's, but their pitching remains a mess. They still have a pretty weak bullpen, and we know the Angels have a terrible bullpen. So I think it's probably another high-scoring game with these two teams, much like last night. I cashed a ticket with the over last night. It was my best bet on this Bet with Bobano show yesterday with the A's and the Angels. I would probably consider going right back to the well with it tonight, over 9.5 here, once again, with the A's and the Angels. All right, next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Pirates and Arizona Cardinals. We've got, it looks like for Arizona, there was a question who was going to be on the mound for them. It looks like it's now going to be Zach Gallen, Luis Ortiz for Pittsburgh. Arizona minus 160, home favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. Tell you what, this Pittsburgh Pirates team, 8-2 in their last 10 games. I'm not looking to lay a price going against Pittsburgh right now, especially laying a price like this with Arizona against them. We'll see how Arizona fares. They've won 2 of 3 in both series following the All-Star break against the Cubs and the Royals. Obviously, they've got a guy that long-term on the mound, Zach Gallen. He's been almost lights out here pitching at Chase Field in Arizona. I mean, everyone knows it. So it's not easy to go against Zach Gallen when you see his name on the marquee as a starting pitcher at home. But his numbers at home are not nearly as unbeatable as they've been in the past. 3.35 ERA for him this year at home. I still think there's value in this price with the Pirates, but the idea of going against Gallen at home is not an easy one to pull the trigger. So I definitely think Pittsburgh's undervalued. I love the way they're playing. I'd still lean Pirates here, plus 140, plus 145. Don't know if I'll get there, though. I still might. Even maybe not be so scared of Gallen, because I remember Gallen got crushed right before the All-Star break at home against Toronto. Like the Blue Jays just crushed him. And that's a very rare sight for Zach Gallen at home. This price does look too good to resist with Pittsburgh here with the way they're playing. So I still might lean Pirates in this game. And Luis Ortiz is not going to wow you, but he's serviceable. He's capable. And he's given the Pirates a chance to win in most starts. Like he's gone 5, 6, 7 innings, and he's given up he's either shut out the opponent or he's given up just one run. You can't ask for much more than that. Pirates are 4-1 in his last 5 starts, so this might be a live dog here, indeed, with the surging Pittsburgh Pirates. All right, final game: Rockies, Giants. Kyle Freeland, Kyle Harrison, battle of lefties. Giants minus 180 home favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. Kyle Freeland on the mound for the Rockies, 2 runs or less in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's been pretty consistent. Kyle Harrison has pitched pretty well all of a sudden the last 2 starts as well. He's got a very good track record against Colorado. So does Freeland against the Giants. Freeland's only given up 5 runs, 4 earned runs in over 15 innings against the Giants. And Harrison's got a pretty good track record against the Rockies as well. So maybe you can get an under here with these two, or at least a first 5 under, because you still have some dicey bullpens here with these 2 teams. First 5 under might be the safer look. As far as lefty proficiency lately, neither team is lighting it up against lefties. Both teams hitting below 230 against lefties the last 10 games. So maybe a first 5 under here with Rockies and Giants. All right, there you go. That's the Friday card. Rapid fire. Because we got to be on the move. Before we wrap it up, again, subscription options, 6 months all sports discount, Dub Club, $400 down to $250 for 6 months of all sports, now through January, entire NFL and college football season at Dub Club. The win totals and futures report, NFL, college football, next Thursday, August 1st. It'll finally be unleashed. Looking forward to making that public, and all my win totals bets, futures bets, will be in that report for both NFL and college football. We've done the research. We've done the work. I'm as prepared as I can possibly be for the NFL and college football season, and ready to duplicate 22.2 units of profit last year in NFL and college football combined. That's $250 US, 6 months all sports, every play, every wager, full card, high volume every day at Dub Club. And again, the other options are at their normal price right now. 1 month all sports, $75. 3 months all sports, $200. 1 year all sports, $750. And if you want a lower volume approach and just my top plays and best bets on a daily basis, sign up at SoBet, my new subscription home that offers just my top plays on a daily basis in all sports. $9.95 per month for that. A nice profitable 4-2 Thursday in MLB with best bets for the SoBet members. So again, sign up there, SoBet, for my top plays and best bets only on a daily basis in all sports, $9.95 per month. All right, best bet for tonight in MLB. Some good choices out there as far as the card tonight. But I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers plus 110. It's just fade Toronto. Texas is playing good out of the break. It's just a Toronto team that I don't think deserves to be favored right now. Simple as that. And I think you're going to continue to see Toronto be pretty high on my bet against list for the remainder of the season. So Texas plus 110, that is going to be my best bet here for this Friday MLB card. There you go. Bet with Bobano in the books for another week. Shout out to everyone watching live on YouTube, X, or any of the other online social media platforms. Hit the like button on the way out if you're watching on YouTube. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night and a great weekend. Enjoy the games and good luck. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we will see you again on Monday for a brand new week of Bet with Bobano.